let's start this off with a few more donations. This is getting embarrassing. One more from Captain Idle, who says, "We break number 3. Otto, please give your best Gowron impression." Glory to you.
I knew that was the one you'd pick.
That's fantastic.
And one more donation from Captain Mackenzie Calhoun, who says, "Thanks for doing the show. I'm not on Discord, but I follow your stream on YouTube on a regular basis. While I'm happy to donate to this worthy cause, if you could ask Ben a question." Why Ben? You know, there's 4 lovely people here. Why you always got to ask Ben a question?
Like, what makes you think Ben knows anything?
There's a big target on my back all the time. I don't know why.
Yeah. All right. They want to know, is there anything in the works that would allow us to sell replicator rations for honor or something more useful?
1 credit per rep ration.
This is the only Q&A rations. Question you're going to get, guys, so make it count.
Sell rations? No.
Okay, you have your answer.
Buy them?
I know. I have a lot.
I'm also obligated to pass on. They want a Dominion Mega, so make it happen.
Okay.
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 Sure. Next month, we'll make it happen.
I know people that can do that. So.
All right. So to kick things off, Ben, we already know who you are. Who are the other lovely 3 people here? I see Carmen, Fury, and Joe. Can you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm Carmen, senior game designer on Star Trek. So I've been working on Star Trek since I think it was the summer of 2017. Came on for the live game services to kind of help make the content and events, crew, all that kind of stuff. And then kind of went over and started making some features afterwards. The first feature was collections, and then the latest one was the crew retrieval stuff.
Oh, so you're the big brain behind the crew retrieval, yes?
Medium brain, right?
Single-handedly?
Some might even say little brain, but we'll see.
Okay,
Max
Fury.
Eng base, number 1 Eng base. Carmen over here.
Fury, tell us a little bit about yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Fury. My legal job title is technical artist at this point. I was hired on as an engineer back in 2018 on Star Trek. And I do a little bit of everything in engine, hanging out with the car man, making stuff.
Yeah, she's a jack of all trades. Does a lot of UI, UX, engineering. Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, so does the actual work. Got it.
Yep.
She does all the work.
And everyone's like,
everyone does actual work, man.
And Joe, you're the only one that we were. Joe, you were the only one that we were given a job title for. So, studio art manager. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, as far as being the studio art manager for Star Trek Timelines, I also was on for that around 2018. Mostly involves coordinating the generating of briefs, sending them out to our artists, and implementing them in the game finally. So, all the art you see added to the game every week is coming through my hands. So.
Okay, so is that crew art, or is it all sorts of UI art and everything in between?
Yeah, so for example, for crew retrieval, I had worked with Carmen and Fury to sort of generate the iconography. The person who actually generates that art is the same person that makes the equipment iconography. I think she actually just recently tweeted something out about it. Maria Picasso y Piquer is a brilliant artist and did a fantastic job with the feature systems, as well as just continuing to pump out the equipment crew we need every week. So yeah, definitely crosses the boundaries across features and the content.
Yeah, the coolest thing that jumped out to me when Ben demoed that crew retrieval is once you hit the button and it takes you to astrometrics and does the camera movement and everything. That was so. About how long did that take to do the art for that and program that whole sequence?
Well, that's probably more of a question for Fury, but designing it was, we went through a couple iterations of just like a animatic mood board kind of thing, and then once we kind of had something that we were happy with, Fury and our 3D artist Sean tackled it, and I don't know how long it takes specifically, but it's definitely a multidisciplinary effort that needs to be tested. And the biggest bear with all that stuff is our game is 5 years old, so As we introduce more fun things like that, we find things that don't work as well, or we need to really crunch them down to make them work. So the people that have been playing on the device for 5 years that we still support, it doesn't just break their phones and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge. It's probably far easier just to make stuff and then deploy it for something in Unity 2020. So
yeah, we do a lot of testing on a total it's a big span of devices and whatnot, and it's much different than for testing something on console, but like on mobile, there's just so many devices, right? So many Android devices, iOS devices with different ratios. Now that we're on PC, it's Steam and Windows. That's a lot.
All right, I've got to shout out. Chad is very impressed, Fury, with your backlit keyboard there.
Thank you. I won it at an after party at PAX East one time. I didn't buy it, but I am enjoying it a lot. Thank you.
That's how you know pro gamer.
Invest zero, just absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't actually know how to program these. I think these headphones are just defaults to rainbow strobe, and I've tried to figure out a way to not have them be rainbow strobe. Just hello
Just
world.
lean
Yes,
into it.
I've.
Yeah, no. Hello.
I like that advice. I might take it. Yeah, my autumnal strobe. I'm obsessed with autumn things.
Okay, so to kick things off, because it is a Star Trek game, and Ben's told us before that everyone that works at the company has some level of familiarity with Star Trek, some of them more than others. A lot of you watch the episodes and are fans of the show. So I guess we'll probably go Ben, Carmen, Fury, Joe for most of these in that order. So tell me about your involvement in Star Trek, and if that was sort of a driving force in you getting involved with the game, or was that just happenstance?
Yeah, so back when I was younger and growing up, my dad he was a big sci-fi fan, so we'd watch a lot of TOS, TNG on TV, and I'd sit and watch it with him. So that was my first introduction to Star Trek. And then as I grew up, got into high school and college, I stopped watching Star Trek for a while, so I kind of lost that for a bit. But then, and what got me back into it was finding out that I got an interview with, at that time, Disruptor Beam. And then researching the games. They had a Game of Thrones game, they had a Star Trek game. So then I started watching both Game of Thrones and Star Trek Timelines before the interview as well. And then from then on as well. So that's been the introduction for me. And I didn't really become a big Star Trek fan until I was actually, got the job and was working on the game. And then realizing, I really should know all of these characters if I'm, testing all these things. So, it's been awesome. There's a lot of Star Trek, so it took me a while to catch up on that. I know Carmen. I think Carmen binged his in 6 months or something. All of Star Trek.
Yeah, that's intense.
So when I got the interview at Disruptor Beam, it was like, oh god, I need to learn Star Trek right now. Because growing up, I was always aware of Star Trek, but I never really had the time to sit down and actually go through all the content. With nowadays, media, right? You just have, I have all the last 60 years as well as everything they keep pumping out on you. So I never really got around to it, but I was like, when I interviewed, I was like, oh, this is a good opportunity for me to kind of jump into it. And then when I got the job, I was like, all right, I need to watch it all. So I kind of just started going through. And a lot of people say the Star Trek that you're exposed to first is the one that you like the most. So some people give me crap about it because I started chronologically. So I went with Enterprise. And that's by far my favorite Star Trek. I was just like, the Captain Archer is the best. So I know that's an unpopular opinion, but...
I'm doing my best Shelby Bell Lemon right now.
Yeah.
I want to wake up.
There's a lot of good stuff in there.
I want to wake up one day and be loved by the world in a way that Carmen loves Enterprise. It's inspiring daily. I love how much Carmen loves Captain Archer. It's so entertaining.
Find your partner that looks at you the same way Carmen looks at Bakula.
Yeah. The way he looks at the casting credits for These Are the Voyages, he's like, oh man, I'll never love anything like I love you.
I don't like to talk about the last episode. That didn't happen. Besides that, everything else was good.
Oh, we're talking about Terra Prime's great. Like, there is no other episode.
So, Fury, what about you?
My mom was a massive Trekkie. I always kind of knew that was the fact, but I didn't really get into it. When Star Trek 11 came out, Star Trek 2009, I was in middle school. So I had this absolute wave of fervor for all of TOS because I was just absolutely convinced. I was like, hey, it's Eomer, yay! And I just went full in. I watched all of TOS in like a matter of weeks, which was fast for, the kid with all of the homeworks, I guess. And I was really, really into all of the TOS episodes, and then I watched all the TOS films and fell in love with Star Trek 4 for my entire life. It was like the first piece of digital media I bought with my own money. Was Star Trek 4.
Oh, that's a special feeling. That's a good one.
It was so good. As soon as I got hired by Disruptor Beam, I bought myself a George and Gracie bobblehead. I was disappointed actually because they have on the bobblehead. It's in my trunk. I took all of my stuff off my desk when quarantine started, and I put it in my trunk, and it's all still there. So I didn't go get it. Oops. But they have Spock mind melding with George, which
that's so good.
Which is like, I'm sorry, he mind melded with Gracie, which is how he knew she was pregnant. But whatever, we're moving on. And then I watched all of TNG and all the TNG episodes, and I never watched anything else. So when I came to Wicked Realm or Disruptor Beam, and Carmen was like, "So do you like Archer?" And I was like, "I don't know who that is."
That's the usual response to people who are asked about Archer.
Next time someone says you guys don't pay enough attention to shows, I'm just gonna play back Fury's answer to all this and be like, come on, she knows who mind melds with a witch whale. Who knows that? Come on.
It's a plot point. I don't know what to tell you.
It's a legitimate plot point.
So what I'm getting from this interview is you guys have so little to do at work, you're able to binge watch season after season, months worth of Star Trek in a week, right?
Is it binge watching if it's just Star Trek 4 over and over again?
You go into the bathrooms and it's just playing Final Frontier, and you're like, you know what? I can wait a little bit longer.
So, Joe, do you have a history with Star Trek?
Yeah. So when I was a kid, the movies played a lot in my household, and I definitely was exposed to Star Trek 2 far too young, and I still have some, nightmares when I imagine the city eel. So I would come home and watch the episodes that were syndicated in the afternoons after school. So primarily TNG and Deep Space Nine and Voyager. And then I didn't really get far into it until my partner and I started watching TNG from the beginning. And I think this was a huge thing that was with Netflix and the advent of streaming. It was the accessibility was just there, so you could actually, just go through it. So the first 2 seasons, we made a bit of a drinking game out of it to get through it. And then, we fell in love with it, and we just kind of keep streaming the, different things every night. And that was sort of kickstarted, I guess, time-wise with Disruptor Beam would be the former art director of marketing was the one that sort of made the initial suggestion. And then I was on the project 6 months after launch from the marketing perspective, and then switched to product a couple years later. So I definitely have him to thank for reigniting that interest that was sort of exposed at an earlier age. So
Joe, while you're on the horn, why don't you plug that sweet Wicked Realm Games merch that you're wearing right now?
It's not merch.
Yeah, no, Ben, where's yours? Is the cat scratching at it? Like what?
When we got in our call at the start, one of us had to change, so he decided he couldn't be wearing the same thing.
I understand.
It's
there. It's there.
Okay.
Right here.
Okay, there you go. Okay, fair enough. You won't get fired for that.
So it's not gonna WRG is not gonna have a store for the players to buy merch at any point. Or
I don't know about at any point, but as of right now, we don't. Okay. We've had a few conversations around it. If there's interest for it, feel free to post on the forums if that's something that people want. Our hats are awesome. Joe did actually a great job with getting all the current merch that we have. Yep, the hats, the sweatshirts, and then Carmen made his
I'm a tryhard. I was like, I need to have a baseball cap with them on it, so I'm just gonna make one.
I'm not saying you should have done this anyway, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
That you
The hoodies are
identify.
really nice. I like them. Don't get me wrong.
I love that you identify as a tryhard. It makes my job easier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Complete self-awareness, you know.
It
transparency,
helps.
candor.
Okay, so this is where we find out if Ben did his homework as requested. We asked him to pass along to each of you, because one of the great things about Child's Play is you can go on their website and through the Amazon wishlist program, you can see exactly what kind of toys and games are being purchased, where they're being sent to. So I asked him to pass along. If you guys have any little trinkets, toys, games, anything Star Trek, or fantasy, sci-fi, whatever that you play with, to bring it along. So I'll start out while you guys fumble on your desks. And this is not very kid friendly, but it is the original Enterprise pizza cutter that I use every time I make pizza.
That's awesome.
And I think that's probably my most treasured daily use type.
I have
Thank-
wanted that thing for over 10 years. So
Yeah?
I'm just like, that's so cool. That's so cool.
So high quality then that it lasted that long.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I see Ben digging
Covered in
around.
pizza.
Yeah, I can go first. So I have a little Tribble. I've had this for a long time. This is actually one that so this was so I don't know if you all remember our old QA lead. He had a bunch of Star Trek things on his desk all the time, and when he left, he said, "Take this QA lead Tribble and carry it with you." And
This is the
and
chalice.
yes, this is it. And he also gave me an iPad too. But this is this is great. So this is the QA lead
You like
Tribble,
the Tribble more. You like the Tribble more.
in which I'm not the QA lead anymore, so I need to give this to Travis. But so I hold this dear to my heart because that was a big learning step for me personally in my career and my growth in the industry and whatnot. And then I got this, I got the Enterprise ship. So
Of course.
Is that an Eagle Moss or that's a really nice quality model? Oh, that's good stuff.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm a sucker
So-
for good detailing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's really hard to follow up Siete, who had like 5 different handmade life-size models in her room, but
Really?
we'll allow that one from Ben. Now, sometimes when you get error message in game, I think usually when doing payments, it says we've encountered some tribbles in the system.
Mhm.
Now, is that where the tradition came from of passing along the tribble?
I don't think so. I think it was just all right. We needed something to sound authentic for when something went wrong, and we're like, well,
Yeah.
tribbles. You see tribbles, and
Okay.
something happens. So
Aye, they're no machinery, all right. Pardon my awful Scottish accent there.
All right, Carmen, you're up next. Do you have something for us?
Yeah, so like I basically moved recently, so I don't have a ton of my stuff out. But the one thing I found from my childhood, it's not necessarily sci-fi, but these are all my old Ninja Turtle cards, trading cards I used to have as a kid.
Are those? Oh wow!
But yeah, there's a lot of them. These guys have been through some stuff. I found them in the garage recently, and I was like, oh damn, yeah, these bring me back. Because like growing up, I was huge into Ninja Turtles, and my parents were definitely like he likes this thing. This is the thing we can get him. So I always just had this huge bin of Ninja Turtle action figures. But it's like one of those things like, middle school, you're like, I'm an adult now. I don't need Ninja Turtle toys. I'm gonna get, and I gave them away and stuff, and I'm just kicking myself in the butt. I'll have to one of these days I'll see if I can find it. But I had the old mech turtles, like the one that was like the metal one, and Slasher and those guys, and I still have some of their weapons and stuff. But those were like the quintessential things that I was like keeping around for a long time. But now it was also the ever since I told them that I like old Ninja Turtle stuff. Like the new Ninja Turtles are cool and all, but they just don't hit the same as the old ones, right? And so everybody knows I like Ninja Turtles. I'm constantly getting like the new Nickelodeon like Ninja Turtles like swag that they're making, all the new merch.
And you receive it, and you're like, thanks. And then
Thanks,
you put
this
it
is
in like the dark closet, and then you start stroking your old ones. Like, don't worry,
Yeah.
I still love you.
Yeah, I go through the old toys. I'm like, yeah, these are the.
And then in between, like stroking your toys, you go, all right, and that's the kid I gave the old toy to. I just have to hunt him down this weekend and get it back.
I gotta go find him. Yeah, go through the list.
Yeah.
I think I remember that Mecha Turtle action figure because it was the one that the light would go in the top, right? And then the eyes would glow.
Yeah. The nice glowing red eyes. Yeah, those were. If you guys ever get the chance, there's like that thing on Netflix, like the toys that we grew up with. It was basically like all the old toys. Going through the Ninja Turtle like saga of how they actually went through and made all those toys was a really interesting tale. I didn't actually realize like a lot of those toys were made as toys first, and then they were brought into the series in other manners. So a lot of those things were like all those characters were just basically like some toy person being like, all right, it's a mutant alligator now, go. Hey, now they're in the tropics. Like, ship them. Let's go.
So is there a game associated
this
with?
long until the toys are on store. Get the plot gun.
Yeah. Go.
So is there like a trading card game associated with it, or is it just a collectible?
Yeah, that's what I
Ninja
was going to ask for
Turtles.
sure.
These ones are the collectibles, right? So this is like, if you look at the back of them, they got little flavor text. This one's for the Technodrome. But yeah, these were just the basic like collect all 88 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cards. These were from Topps. So they were like the grab them. Every time I tried to get into a card game when I was a kid, I was always just like so fascinated with the collection aspect of it. You know, it kind of makes sense how I got to Star Trek now that I'm like, I'm on the therapy couch going through it. It's like, yeah, I just love collecting things. I want them all.
He just had an epiphany. This is
Right.
Yeah, those look like in really, really good condition too. I remember I had a massive Yu-Gi-Oh collection, and like one of my friends swindled me out of like 2/3 of my collection, and my remaining bits were like constantly used and like shoved in my bag on the go. There was one time, really quick, I was on the T here in Boston, and I used to carry a Yu-Gi-Oh deck with me at all times in case it was time to duel. And it was like Anime Boston that week. And a guy comes in, full Yu-Gi-Oh cosplay, dual disc, and I was like, "This is it. This is."
And he was on a motorcycle with the dual disc.
And I pulled my deck out of my bag, and I was like, "Dude!" And his face lit up, his heart opened up, and he patted all of his pockets, and he didn't have a deck on him.
Fake fan. Fake.
That was fake fan. It was the last time I carried my Yu-Gi-Oh deck around with me because.
Your heart was broken.
That
you
was
lost
it.
all
That
your
was-
faith in people.
that
you could
was
never
peak
learn to love
Yu-Gi-Oh.
again.
No. So, and then those cards are lost to the ether somewhere. I have that 42 card deck somewhere. I don't remember, but
You know, we really love you, Ben, but you're never coming back on the show again unless she says you can come with her. You know, that's the only way you're getting on the
These
show.
other people are so much more interesting than I am. I don't blame you.
false. Oh, false in every way.
I think that's the nicest thing I've ever heard someone say about Ben that isn't one of us, because the forums are not as complimentary.
No, the forums aren't.
I read those.
Oh no!
Don't bother. I don't. It's a waste of time.
Carmen, do you want to keep talking about turtles?
I mean, I could talk about turtles all day, but you go.
Welcome to his TED Talk.
He's still processing this breakthrough he had about his life journey.
It doesn't register to me to have collecting cards without a game to go with it. So I'm they look lovely, and I'm fascinated by the idea. So I genuinely wanted to hear more. But if it's time for me to talk about these ears, we can talk about these ears.
I do have one last question to ask Carmen. Do you have all 88?
What was it?
Do you have all 88?
Do I have? Oh gosh, no! Now you just triggered something.
What have you done, Stars?
Oh jeez! All right, I gotta go. I saw a couple bubbles in here.
You start putting them down in order on the desk.
Yeah. By the end of the stream, I'll let you know if I have all 88 here, because I mean it's a pretty substantial pile.
It's a pretty sizable deck, yeah.
There are some. This one's a Lion King. Like I said, I had a lot of different collectible cards and Fury, when you're talking about getting swindled, that triggered something in my head. Again, memory I had all the Marvel series, and I remember I traded one card to somebody because they were like, "Oh, look here, I got the She-Hulk card," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool, yeah, I'll switch." I had no concept that I had the whole series until like way later. I'm flipping through and there's like one card missing, and you just like my eye starts twitching.
And you have two of the She-Hulks, and you're like,
Yeah.
That's horrible. Did you cherish the one they? I mean, did you cherish that She-Hulk to your dying breath? Or?
I moved it to the end of the collection. Now there's just a hole in that binder somewhere.
A hole in your binder and a hole in the heart. They go together.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on and stop comparing our decks on a children's charity stream. Joe, do you have any treasured childhood or adult toys and games?
Sure. Yeah. Let me bring you on a brief tour. All right. Let's see how this
Oh
works.
God.
So this is the shelf behind me. Let me see how this works. So, some board games and puzzles. This tackle box is the Star Trek Attack Wing miniatures that I collected.
Good stuff.
This is something the former producer of Star Trek Timelines gave to me, the tardigrade and the Discovery.
Adorable.
My partner made this Black Canary little poster thing. Got Hobbs, pile of books, lots of stuff. These are some toys.
You got some danger down there. I see it.
Yep. So I got a lot of stuff.
I know Fury has ears.
Yes, I was going to say you can tell us about your ears.
Yeah.
I got them. It's sad because when Ben talked about the fact that we're going to show off some of our toys, I was like, "Oh, I got these ears," and I ran over, and they're like falling apart. I haven't worn them in over a year, and they've like, I got them in middle school, and I used to wear them to middle school. It was great. It was a really good idea. And you would glue stick them onto your ears, and you'd put like try to get like that whole like Vulcan-y hair looking deal, and you'd walk around in
The
these.
bowl cut, yeah.
Yeah. And which is not a good look for a middle schooler, as it turns out. But it made me feel happy, which is all that matters.
Yeah, but you can take solace in the fact that you're now the coolest person in the room. So
is a sentence I rarely hear. So thank you. My big dork prize is in storage. That would be my portal gun. I only mention him because Portal 2 turns 10 next month. Oh, and it's a big place in my heart. My Wheatley plushie is somewhere.
Do you have like an Atlas and a Peabody sitting around as well?
I actually don't. I know they were doing vinyl figurines of them, but I can't ever get into like. I know they have Funko versions, and I'm not a Funko person. So I know they have a friend of mine has both Atlas and Peabody's portal guns, like on twin stands, but they're smaller than Chell's portal gun.
Cool.
So I'm more than happy with the one I have, but it is in storage somewhere, unfortunately. Could not fit into this little tiny box. But yeah, I have a dork shelf.
Tiny Fury-sized box.
Yeah, little tiny Fury-sized box. I have my Boston Red Sox Live Long and Prosper foam finger, which is very apt, that I stole from the Disruptor Beam office, and I
That's for that.
have a dork. Yeah. We had like
You're
a
like, I can
bunch.
say that now because it's not Disruptor Beam anymore. It's not a crime.
I have a dork shelf, but I don't know. This computer is plugged into like 5 things, so I think Joe is going to win the dork shelf competition today.
My favorite thing from that office was the captain's chair that we had.
That was the coolest thing ever.
Cool.
You had a captain's chair?
My eyes watered when I walked into the office the first time, and I was like,
It's not the captain's.
Did it swivel?
No, I don't think it did, but it had all like
model.
buttons and sliders and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was
Guess
a big
what?
chair.
Buttons
We
is
still
the
have it.
correct trade-off. You need the buttons.
Yeah.
We still have it. It's in storage somewhere.
We do?
Yeah,
It's ours? We
got
won
it,
it in the divorce?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Yeah, so we got
And
it.
so,
It's in storage.
the foam finger was
It's in a
not
new
the only
storage.
thing that mysteriously went missing.
we just couldn't fit it in our new office when we turned into Wicked Realm. So we're like, well, what do we do with it? And we're like, well, we can get it and put it in storage. It's like, all right, well, let's put it in storage.
I'm delighted.
When we get an office, a bigger office, a new office. So.
Okay, but before we move on, I got to shout out a few more donations here. One from Anonymous with no message. Thank you, Anonymous. One from a WRG Benjamin who says, amazing charity. Thank you, Ben. A huge donation from Captain Sheridan, who was on earlier. I hope you enjoyed all your polls and are fusing your crew as we speak. And one more from Shiaporn. Question for WRG staff. What is your favorite movie of the franchise? Curse of Chucky, Cult of Chucky, Bride of Chucky, or Child's Play the motion picture?
Star Trek 4!
Ooh.
I feel like if Shireporn and WRG Fury were in like a pickup truck together, it'd be like, oh, I love Child's Play. You love Child's Play. No, I don't. You love Child's Play. Yes.
Okay, so you guys sort of made your own segue here, but I wanted to ask about working from home, because obviously a big reason why we chose Child's Play is the effect that COVID has had, the lockdown, the long period where we have minimal contact, which influences some of us more than others. So what has that transition been like from working presumably in an office with everyone to now mostly doing things from home? And have any of these toys and games that you've shown us off help get through that transition when you're not always allowed to go out and party like you used to?
Yeah, I can go first. It's definitely been a change for sure. You know, I miss talking to people face to face. All these guys, you know, are my friends. So it's definitely weird. A call is not the same, but it's what we got. So, and yeah, the biggest adjustment for me was to try to separate work from home, because now it almost feels like I'm always at work, and that was a big change for me. Because when I first started working, I didn't have my office set up yet, so I was working on my couch, in my living room, or you know, in my basement, and then when I would stop work, I'd still have my work stuff there, and then I'm looking over at it like, oh, let me just do this one thing or do that. So it got unhealthy where I was working a lot of hours, and not because of work crunch, just because my work was there, and I was just like, oh, let me just do this. So when I finish my office, the office is where I do work now, and like when I leave my office, I am not at work. But that was a big change for me personally. But the things that have been, you know, that I've been focusing on, you know, playing video games. I'm really into music and guitar, so I've been playing a lot of guitar recently. I've been doing a lot of stuff around the house. I did a lot of work around the house last year, redoing cabinets, my backyard, driveways, all sorts of stuff. So trying to stay as busy as possible.
So I think, Stars, you have a Resic and flute. Maybe you two could do a duet someday on guitar and flute. Yeah.
Unfortunately not, but I do know for a fact that there's like 3 guitars and a banjo on the other side of that wall, and I believe a mandolin.
I've always wanted to learn how to play the banjo.
It's an experience getting to hear someone learn it.
The banjo is a loud friend. Naturally, he just wants to sing.
Oh yeah.
He wants you to understand the beauties and majesties of the Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Well, the Kentucky.
The Kentucky, the definitive Kentucky.
That's funny.
So
Kentucky Collector's Edition.
So Carmen, what's it been like keeping accompany your Ninja Turtle friends at home this last year or so?
It's been definitely an adjustment, right? Like I think Ben kind of like nailed it, right? Like that separation of work and play. Like this is my monitor I play video games on, right? And I kind of took it the extra step. Like my keyboard now is a Bluetooth keyboard with the Bluetooth mouse, so I can actually have my PC hooked up and I can just easily switch. So that was both a good thing and a bad thing. Now I don't have 2 keyboards and 2 mice on my desk as I'm trying to work on 2 things, but also it's like, oh, I can just switch over and play my game real quick. Let me just do that. But I would say the biggest thing I'm missing is just like that ability to turn around and start talking to Fury or Joe or somebody, right? Or like, you know, even like ask Ben a question. Hey man, like what are we getting for lunch today? You know, so definitely like being a little more isolated makes it a little bit harder for that communication to kind of go. But we've been kind of definitely doing the calls, and then just. But it's not like I'm missing the clubs anyway, you know. I was going and playing video games before I'd come home. Now I just have the perfect excuse to be like, "Oh, sorry guys, pandemic. I gotta
wait,
get to level 13."
You're telling me you're not a hype beast?
The what?
Many kinds of
beast?
hype beasts, I will say.
No, a hype beast, but only in Destiny. Is that it?
Yeah.
So does this blue?
Rocket League.
Oh, Rocket League.
Yeah.
Good being like I can drive in a straight line and hit the ball sometimes.
Guess
Like, I
what?
gotta-
That's pretty good at
that's
Rocket League.
pretty
in my
good at
experience.
Rocket League.
better
right,
than I am.
So this Bluetooth keyboard, does it also light up like Fury's?
You know what? I was like all excited to be like, oh, my keyboard lights up too, but no, this one doesn't actually light up. It's on. But I do have another one that's the whole RGB, and it's this crazy thing. Like, you know, as a PC, I'm definitely PC master race. I'm like, yeah, PC gaming. That's the only consoles. No, but like everything comes with like RGBs or like these really sharp. They basically all look like robots in disguise to me. Like everything looks like a transformer. These real sharp edges. If I feel like if I say something wrong around it, it's gonna pop up.
So, Mr. PC Master Race, how do you feel about mobile gaming?
Now, I'll tell you I can't take my PC on the train or into the bathroom, so I'm pretty happy about having the two things. Like I
Okay.
definitely sitting on a couch and playing at a distance is one of those things that's like I think there's the couch co-op is the thing that I really like with console games and stuff, and with the PC game or mobile games, like I would say like collection games, like things that you're just like signing in. The idle games really get me with that math, like that just little dopamine drip that I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm so close, I can get the next one. But Clash Royale is one of those ones I've been playing for years and years. Like I got into the soft launch when that one came out, and they probably have the most amount of money from me on any mobile game.
All right, Fury, you're up next.
Yeah, so this is my work computer, and this is my home computer. So I have not been as good as Ben at separating the whole homework life thing. But thanks to Carmen, I was introduced to a game called Deep Rock Galactic. And I have been playing so much Deep Rock Galactic. Because it's not only that, like, emergent gameplay, problem solving, but it's that that sweet collaborative aspect that is just so shaped to the experience where you play with the people you love. And I think I single-handedly, either for buying for people or making them buy it, have caused like 14 or 15 independent purchases of Deep Rock Galactic.
Keep digging.
I love that game. So good. I'm trying to think of what is okay. And like that, he's gone.
He's off to spread off 15 more independent.
It would have been funny, but I didn't hear it. I'm legitimately trying to think about. Yeah, I mean, okay. I am mando learning as well. So I've got the mandolin in the room. I was trying to think of like things that are in my life that are not work or Deep Rock Galactic or mandolin, and I'm coming up short a little bit. So we should move on to Joe.
Star Trek timelines. Guys, I've given you so many chances to plug your own game.
I work on that game. I play it.
That is work.
Okay.
I thought that was the point. Yeah, you want me to talk about the mobile game I play, Battle Cats? It's not a good idea for me to start talking about Battle Cats. I wish that was not the name of the game it actually is.
So, Joe, tell us about your transition working from home.
I'm gonna just echo the sentiments that everyone has gone to this point. Separating work and play and that life. The one thing I will say on the positive is like it's been really great to be around my family as much as I have been. So that's definitely, I've seen more development for my family in the past year than I feel like I have in the previous 5. So that's been kind of amazing. As far as sanity keeping, Into the Breach was pretty like fundamental when quarantine first broke out. I just sort of rabbit holed on that game back in March, April, and June of last year. I still follow a stream of a guy that was playing it back then, and now he's playing like Werewolf at night and stuff, which is great. But so that puzzles, my partner and I love puzzles. We did a couple when quarantine first started, and then we tried to order some and they were like back ordered for like a month, and then that kind of slowed down. And then Dungeons and Dragons is a huge one. Collaboratively, just getting online with some people, and the social aspect of that game is just really fantastic. I'd say those things have been good, and I do love playing Star Trek Timelines a lot too. That's the correct answer if I've solved the
Yeah, no, the gun also off to the side of your screen is like.
I mean, we all play Star Trek Timelines. So actually, I haven't done my dailies today. I should do that after.
Your fleet will hate you if you don't. You need the ISM.
I know. That was Carmen's idea.
I know.
That was Carmen's idea.
Yeah, no one in his fleet knows who he is because he went WRG Neb instead of Ben. They're like, oh, I wonder who that guy is.
It's obviously not Ben. I don't know.
Yeah, couldn't be.
Well, thank you again for the great segue. I had a couple, because the folks in chat and folks watching the stream, they play timelines. They want to know a little bit about timelines. So I did have a couple timelines-centric questions. First off, being in the past when Ben was on, he was talking about a scrapped feature where you could see your friends fly into the main HUD and see what they're doing, etc. Do you have any kind of features that you've either been thinking about you'd like to see in the game, or something maybe that was scrapped that you were really disappointed that it didn't make it?
Let's start reverse order. Let's go, Joe. Joe first.
Sure. Yeah, like as far as like working on Star Trek the past couple of years, I don't have any particular like want for something that didn't come to be that was developed or even partially developed. But as far as my perspective, like and we're just talking as far as like, not anything planned or anything like that, but
we're going to hold you to it.
High in the sky.
Joe promised. Joe promised.
I just want to preface that. But
Pure navel gazing. Don't worry, it's all good.
This game has been around for 5 years, and there's been elements of it that were definitely cutting edge at the time of launch. Like one being the graphics, like having those 3D ships was amazing for 2016 on a mobile device. And actually revisiting that with the Astrometrics lab was something that was kind of like bringing back that sort of like visual element that we wanted to push for. But honestly, I want to revisit some features. I want to see what we can reimagine as opposed to try to make new stuff. And obviously, making new stuff is great. It's that there's always this math that's going to be done, and a lot of times the new stuff will win. But I would love to revisit some older features to either refigure out how to make them prettier or even just make them more accessible or modernized, because the mobile space, especially compared to 5 years ago, is just so vastly different. Like stuff that we were doing back then, we were making it up, and now like there's whole other games based around the some of the subsystems and things that we've done. So yeah, I would love to revisit some stuff.
Actually, I do see a comment. I would love an AR ships feature. We actually took a look at that years back, and we actually got a working prototype, but we ended up scrapping it for reasons. But that was something that we did play around with for time. We had a ship battle that was in our office just happening, which was pretty cool.
So that'll be ready to ship quarter 3, right?
Quarter 3, quarter 2.
I want to add on to it too that like the the complexity of a game that's delivered on so many platforms with so much light, like just years in it. It makes it really hard sometimes. Like I don't know why we scrapped that AR feature, but it might be something that like technologically, like it just didn't fit somewhere else, and we had to scrap it because it couldn't work or something. So like it's like one of those things that it's somewhat like of a lament of mine, but like it's like you can't have all of this stuff because it's like you're building the rails as the train's running, right? So it's so.
Was that a content train joke, Joe?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But it's I'm hoping to pull a quote from which is a history quote from the WandaVision or whatever. It's like the ship where it's like I'd love to like change out all the parts of the ship over time so that you don't realize it's like, is it still the original ship? You know what I'm saying?
The ship of Theseus.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Idol.
Thank you, voice in the void.
Yeah, we have a joke on the team that is the content train. The content train doesn't stop ever. We always have new events, new servers, every week. So yeah, that was that.
I think that's sort of the eternal tug of war in a game, is because players, if they played with a system and they like the system and they know the system, they want improvements to that system. And the company has to make money, and new shiny things sell way better than, hey, we fixed bugs or we updated this or that. So,
well, it's not always that too. It's all players have enjoyed different systems more than the others, right? We have a hardcore fan base that is Gauntlet, like they love Gauntlet, and then we have Voyages. People love Voyages. A lot of people like Voyages, and then we have the other smaller stuff that's like ship battles. Some players absolutely love ship battles. They want to see more ships and more things like that. So it really is kind of figuring out like, which feature needs an update, or which feature will that we could update that would make the most players happy or enjoyable.
So Fury, you have any feature in mind that you'd like to see implemented, or?
I mean, I would like to first echo Joe's sentiments. I've kind of been advocating for it. And I would really love to go back and revisit things and revamp them. And Ben's nodding like, But if it were up to me to make a new feature, I would want something. I mean, I'm really into strategic things where your decisions really feel like they matter, and there's emergent stuff, and I feel like some way to utilize your collection in a way that it truly feels unique and meaningful every time, and maybe that's social and collaborative, or like it's something that lets you adapt to new situations your way. I'm not going to say like where in the game that would touch, because we'd have to figure out with all of the stuff that's Ben has been talking about, like where that would fit best or where we want to use that most. But as a player, I feel like you've got all of this ammo. Use it. I want to use it in a way that's unique to me, and not just I don't want to say not just, because I remember playing through the episodes, and those were actually I enjoyed playing through the episodes. But you know what I'm trying to say.
The episodes have some of the most tactical choices in the game, because it's a case of, there's only say 5 pilots that can actually hit this mode on this difficulty. And it's like, I actually need to hunt out that crew, and there's an actual degree of choice and tactical strategy to it.
Yeah,
and,
give me choice, and I will take it. I will. That is definitely who I am as a gamer. So that's probably something I would want to if it were up to me, 100%, I would introduce some kind of element similar to that.
Carmen?
I mean,
this face.
How long do we have? Do we have 3 hours?
Do we have 3 hours?
Let me get out my notebook of stuff.
We've got a few people we can scrap. Don't worry about it.
Right. I mean, being a designer on the project, I've always had plenty of ideas, and plenty of really bad ideas to go along with it, right? So I think the dance we kind of play is like that like Ben was kind of describing, right? We get product goals, we get feedback from the players, we kind of see what holes are in the game, because with a 5-year-old game, we could keep adding systems, but at what point are you guys going to turn and get your pitchforks and torches out when I add a 5th daily and you're like, hey, or a 12th daily to it, right?
It's a legitimate worry.
Yeah. So it's trying to find that balance of what can we do, what can we improve in the old, what can we look forward to, but things that I have we have rough design docs, I would say proposals more than design docs, right? Because the process is we come up with a goal, we go through the proposal process. So I'll write several ideas or design proposals out, and then we kind of weigh each of them and see where they fit. Some of them are we're never doing that. Other ones are, that's really interesting, we got to figure out how we can leverage that, right? So a couple of them are just fleet boss battles are one of the ones that I've talked about in the past. I want to get players in fleets, and so that's kind of one of those first steps of hey, let's get fleets more active, let's get them more people being active. So that's kind of where that idea came from, to get the daily meta in there, was to kind of build up your fleets. That way when we go into the future and we kind of start looking at things we do have the critical mass in fleets to give them something to go with the fleet boss battles. Just the sheer amount of crew we have. Star Trek started off with 144 crew. Now we're up over 1,000. So kind of what Fury was saying was being able to leverage that huge collection, right? There's players out there that have almost all the crew, right, fully maxed out, and now it's like the opportunity to like, how do I leverage that full collection versus like only using the top tier crew. I see your guys' like tier list and stuff like that, and I'm like, I love Archer, but there's not enough archers in tier 1, and the players will kill me if I start making tier 1 archers, you know. But yeah, that kind of stuff.
If you want to stuff tier 1 with dwarfs, I won't tell anyone.
All right. Look, you are so greedy. How many wars have you had this year? Like 5 different wars?
Oh, we've had some good dwarfs out there too.
We've had extremely good dwarfs.
Did you just pluralize wharf as warves? Because I'm giving you
Dwarfs.
points for that.
It's an honor of dwarves. That's the plural. It's an honor of dwarves.
No, it's a murder of dwarves.
Didn't we just have a new one?
Make a warves
Yeah,
collection.
Midwife
yeah,
Wolf
we're always
was like
having
2
new
weeks
ones.
ago, and I thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
So, Carmen, since you're the idea man, can you think of one specific idea that was a hard no that you're still like kicking yourself? You wish, oh, come on, why didn't they just relent about this one thing?
I mean, I always have ideas for crew that they're like, no, you can't do
Yeah.
that. But I mean,
You can't leave that one untouched.
yeah, I mean,
Is
I'll
it a
say,
Teenage
like,
Mutant Ninja Turtle?
there's
Have
a
you
lot
watched the animated series?
yeah, there's a lot of fusion crew.
Oh,
Every time
EM3 Green, yeah.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, yeah.
guys.
No, oh, that's Rob. Rob loves the TAS episodes.
Yeah, another one of the designers. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the good things is we all have these arguments over who like or what Star Trek's best, and we got like Rob loves the animated series. We got Woods over there on DS9, and I'm the only guy hitting the ENT drum. Like, come on, guys, you don't want more archers? Like, what's wrong with this?
I can tell you know what, Common? I'll meet you in the middle ground here, right? Can you agree with me? There are not enough good trip tuckers in the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I could go for some more trips. Like so even with that, like we did the boxing trip. I thought that that was like a really fun one for me because any Star Trek originals are always really fun. Because like that one, I just happened to find a good face of him when he was doing an interview, and I was like, looked like he got punched in the face. That's that's going into the cab. Let's see if we can get it. But yeah, I guess exact crew that was a hard no. I'll tell you the one that I strived for the longest, and then finally when they let us do the dev packs, they were like, "All right, I guess we'll have to let you have them." Was the all natural flocks? That was like that was one of my favorite episodes, and just like I was like, I have to get him in there, and they're all like, "No." I was like, come on, let me get it. And it was like, I think it was a good 6 months of me just like, I made the cab. Joe will probably talk about this later, but the character art brief, we basically like do up the character ahead of time. So I had this thing all written up, and I was like, hey guys, how about now? And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. And it was like, hey, we're doing dev packs. I was like, well, I'm gonna say it's Phlox, and you guys can't tell me it's no because it's my choice.
So, with deference to Ben, that's a great segue. I have one more question for you guys. You've talked in the past about having your own dev pack, or you do a 6-pack or whatever, and you get to pick the crew. And have you been involved in creating a specific crew from scratch?
Do you want
I
me to
guess we'll
start
start
around
reverse with Joe. Yeah, sure.
Joe should lead this one anyway.
I prepared a PowerPoint presentation. No. Yeah. So art is been one of those sort of fulcrum points for crew art creation. The cab that Carmen mentioned is sort of the living document that basically starts with somebody scrubbing the episode, pulling references, looking at auction sites, trying to collect all the reference material so our artists can generate the final piece of art. And with that person, whoever is generating that brief, is sort of becoming like a pseudo expert on that particular crew. So they'll start stub in the initial design data, suggesting which skills and which traits they should have. And then that gets reviewed with the team. We have a designer, Shan, our community player experience expert, always tries to provide player feedback and perspective for those meetings. And myself, heading up the art side of things, sort of like put our 3 brains together to say like, okay, yes, this makes the most sense, and let's push forward with that. That then goes through a huge process with, generating the art, getting the art through internal approval, partner approval, and then ultimately implemented into the game and iterated on any bug fixes that we find with it as well. Yeah, I have been probably party to about 300 crew at this point, generating probably a good half of those cabs myself. But yeah, what do you want to know about it?
Joe, do you have the art process
Yeah, sure.
doc if you want to show?
Oh, you thought he was joking about the PowerPoint.
No,
He does have a PowerPoint.
I see your PowerPoint and match you with these sheets because Idle has spreadsheets for days.
Here, let me see if I can share my screen. I don't know.
Someone called me spreadsheets?
Spreadsheets.
I don't know how it will display on the stream.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Can you see that?
It's loading up for me.
We got it on
Good
screen.
Lord,
Style
it
guide.
is a PowerPoint.
I don't know if it's going to show on the
stream.
This is
Oh, wait.
fascinating.
I think Idle clicked it. Yeah. I think you're good.
Cool. So yeah. So just to go in the style.
They can only
You
see
know.
half of it. Hold on.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm selling it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's a master. I should not have spoken. Keep my forked tongue behind my teeth.
Yeah. So just for like style reference, and we do include the old Tomahawk in here, which is fun. But yeah. So like we're trying to capture a pose from a moment in a scene, if possible. That is our primary goal with art, is to sort of capture a moment in time. We can't do this all the time. Sometimes there's just no great moments or great scenes that we can capture. The pose won't make sense. So we just want to accurately capture it as possible. We like expressive faces. This was like this, and this style has developed. Frankly, I think it's important to recognize just how important Shan has communicated the players' feedback to us to help us sort of bring it to where it is now. So like, the thin, sharp rim light is something that's sort of developed over time, and becoming more expressive with the faces, and even the pose capturing a moment is something that we sort of waffled on a lot. Like we do it sometimes and then not others. This is what not to do. This is old Tomahawk, and he's really. And I do want to put this in a frame of like, back when we were generating the art, and this was before I came onto the project. We were testing a bunch of stuff, and the directive was just get it done, like just get stuff in there. Like we were trying to just get stuff done. So we were testing a style with him, and we just needed Tomahawk and couldn't reorder him at the time, and so we just pushed forward with him. So I think it's important to recognize like this is what not to do in the framework of like, it was 5 years ago, so let's forgive ourselves.
Yeah, and I definitely would say you've had way more like hits than misses, because like characters like Tomahawk especially like stuck out in contrast to everyone else.
Sure.
And something like 23rd Century Martok, where like the improved art is so much more in line with the better art, like RAF Miles O'Brien, which I think is another launch card. Like there's such a smooth, consistent style among most of them that the ones that are not as good stuck out. And it's a case of, as you say, sometimes you just have to get it out the door, and you can fix it later.
Yeah.
So we did recently have that new Martok art. Do you guys have a master list somewhere of crew that you would like to change when there's time, or do you just pick a name that's floating around when you find that you have the time?
So for the case of the reorder, so Tomahawk, Martok, Blood Oath Jadzia, those were sort of like driven from like just the want to go back and revisit them, to sort of there was no sort of like directive or order or anything like that. The main thing that we do have to accomplish with any of those is that we are either re-releasing it in some fashion or re-exposing it to the players. So for the Martok, we made him part of the STT Originals theme pack that went out with Platonian Chekhov, yeah. And with that, it was just an opportunity to sort of revisit it. So I jumped at it because I know the name Elephant Man Martok has been floating around for years, and as someone
Potato Martok, yes.
I take pride in the art that we do make, and I do want to refresh where I can. But there was I think honestly, Blood Oath Jadzia, Martok, 23rd Century Martok, and oh god, who was the other one?
Jadzia.
Tomahawk.
Those ones. yeah, Tomalak, we're definitely those examples that stood out compared to the other ones. Yeah, and so like this is what I sort of mentioned. Like this is like our sort of designer document. We pile in a bunch of information. We cross link to the episodes. We stub in some skills and stuff, and then we generate the sort of reference images. And we try to get screenshots from the episode. We look in there's a auction website that's public that if we're lucky we get assets from. It's kind of 50-50. We try to provide any props if they're handling them, and then this is the best one when we have the chance to pose our designer Rob in his kitchen with his cat to be like, all right, this is what we want to capture here, and then sort of anchoring it with the specific face and any other references relevant to that. We then copy those images towards the bottom of the document for Maria, who does our iconography. And as far as the thing, we start off with a sketch with Mike Gardner as our character artist. He's been our character artist for the entire time. For Star Trek Timelines, he's probably produced 99% of the crew that you see in the game. And yeah, so everyone's like, "Did you get a new artist?" It's like, no, it's Mike. It's still Mike.
It's always been Mike.
It's always been Mike. And yeah, so this is the final origin that we ended up making, sort of with all that things. And actually, just a bonus one. So this is an actual cab, and this document's a little older, so there's actually more elements here. We actually been capturing the flavor text as part of this for a while, and so we got Archer. He's got some Zindi fun stuff, and then this is the best part. So
I've never seen this. How have I not seen this? It's so amazing.
The things I do to get Archer into the game, okay, guys?
So I'm pretty sure I had to revoke Carmen's Photoshop license after this cab. But yeah, so that's sort of what goes into making a cab, and that's what generates the crew, which generates the art. And yeah, it's a wild process that we do, 3 to 5 times a week to keep this baby going, right? Like as Ben said, the content train don't stop. And
yeah.
So is there
before we
one?
continue, can I just say I'm really glad you picked Origin, because I actually singled Origin out as an example of like a character I don't like, but you perfectly captured his essence because he's kind of a Weasley, like not a fun guy. And it's like I'm really glad you picked him as an example. That was really, really cool.
So of the 300 plus that you're responsible for, is there one or two that stand out that you're really proud of the way it came out?
yeah, I think was Blood Oath Jadzia the first one we did, or was it Tomalak? I forget.
Tomalak was first.
Tomalak was the first reorder. I really loved how the Blood Oath Jadzia. So there's actually a really one fan made a sketch of Blood Oath Jadzia in their own style. They just really love the pose. They love the moment of the character. And it was something that, like, when it just came to the final rendering of the first one, like, it just wasn't achieving, the quality standards. But, like, I really loved how we were able to sort of recapture everything, but just with the production quality increased. I was really, like, happy with how we were able to sort of tackle that. Yeah, I think outside of that, it's always fun to discover new characters as you rewatch an episode, and you're like, oh man, like I didn't know like this character was in this episode or this actress.
And it happens all the time too.
Yeah.
Like when I watch an episode, I'm like, we don't have this character. I really want this character in the game now. So
yeah, we have this running joke on our show. Like whenever we watch something, you get that Leo DiCaprio meme where you sit up and point at the screen. You're like, that could be a variant in the game. How come we don't have that one? So
yeah.
So Fury, have you had the chance yet to do a developers pack or work closely with the release of a new crew?
Joe's face. Oh my God. Yeah, I've done some cabs that were not associated with the dev pack, but I would like to place a formal apology to the entire content team for how annoying I am with the crew that I want. The ones that have made it into the game that I am the most proud of are Nomad, was my boy. I love Nomad so much. And Shirtless Dying Saru, Vaharai Saru. and most recently the punk rocker. My manager and I have been pushing for getting the punk rocker into the game since I got hired, and he's here to stay, and I love him.
So
those
if
are
you
some of
hit
mine.
10 years with the company, they need to get you a big Nomad plushie. Is that right?
If you
She
can
got her
find a way of making something that angular huggable, Nobel Prize.
She got her a
I was
stand.
gonna say you probably have more luck making it like one of those taekwondo like training dummies where it's like that.
I would never hurt him.
But would he
He
hurt you?
Oh my god, yes. Paralyzed. He would beat me up something fierce. Yeah,
Mm.
I would
I-
not exist for long.
No man
Yeah, I just
recognizes the
remembered-
Roy cock.
I just remembered my first cab, which was before I took over for the art management stuff, was Vreenak, and that was that he holds a special place for my heart because we were able to leverage and get the audio in there, and I just love that moment. Is just so perfect. I love him so.
I have to ask: have you seen that YouTube 10-minute edit? That's
Oh,
just
yes.
nothing but
Oh,
it's
yes.
fake. It's real.
Oh yes.
I think for me, Romulan Picard. That was the first cab I made. That was the first crew that I designed. I did the data for too. Carmen, I went up to Carmen one day and I said, I want to learn how to design a crew. And he said, all right, I'll teach you. So
I said, great. The content train don't stop. We need more conductors.
we need more help. So yeah, Carmen taught me, and that was the first crew that I did by myself from start to finish, but doing the cab, getting all the screenshots and then designing them. So he holds a place in my heart. And then for my dev pack too, the EV suit Worf, which I know is Star's favorite, but I really wanted to get all the EV suit characters in the game. I just love EV suits. I think they're so cool. I would love to see EV Super Card someday too. That's one we have to get eventually.
Definitely.
All right, so Carmen, you've gained a lot of clout with our Timeline Stalks viewers when they found out that you're the guy behind the trait audit and the crew retrieval. So, can you give us one specific crew name that might make people love you even more than they already do?
That would be a load. I'll have to find one that's that. I was gonna say the one that kind of like stuck out to me through the cab creation process was Mirror Janeway way back in the day. That was like
the originals.
Yeah, that was it was original. We were doing the Mirror Month, and we're like, yeah, let's get another one in there. Like, who doesn't have it? And that was the when they had the Broken Arrow comic collection. We were going through those and grabbing stuff. So I was trying to like figure out like I don't want her to be the same as these ones, right? And I was trying to come up with the like it was an interesting process because it didn't go through our normal channel, who was Mike, because there was no material to pull from. So like with Mike, we're generally trying to grab screenshots and stuff, but we had an artist in house, Bobby, who I worked hand in hand with on that one. Like we did a bunch of sketches of different poses. We're like, who is this character? Who is Janeway in the Mirror universe? Right? Like she's very like lawful. Like, hey, I'm doing it by the books. And I'm like, but who is she over here? So we kind of took this approach where like, all right, she's in the KCA wars. She's a hunter, right? She's actually going after all the Klingons and Cardassians and stuff. So that's where she got the trophies from. I think the trophy reference I got from one of the episodes where they're talking about the Klingons and how they have their trophies that's why she's got the Klingon I always screw up when I say that. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that one was just such a fun one to kind of do because it came out of nowhere. And when it released, no one yelled at me about it, so I didn't see too much, people getting up in arms about it. So I thought that was a good one that kind of went over.
I like Gun Show Picard too. Mirror Picard.
Gun Show Picard. Oh god, you can literally say Gun Show to pretty much half the characters that came from the Mirror universe because they all just have their sleeves ripped off. Like in the beginning of the comic, you see Picard literally doing like a bench press set before he goes.
Mirror Saru, and you're like, I will never understand you, my bendy friend.
Yeah.
I love you.
Saru Schwarzenegger.
Oh my god, could you imagine if Mirror Saru was just ripped and just massive? Totally.
He just like grabs Bowel and cracks them over his knee.
Oh my gosh, but he still like has the swishy walk, so he looks really bizarre.
Yeah, absolutely. Supermodel.
Oh my god, guys, can we make this happen?
Okay, so
Yeah, can we get mirrors like originals through just cracking Bowel over his knee? Can we get
Fuse
that?
crew.
Just
I'm
a
not gonna be
full-on
Fuse crew
double
right there.
belly-to-belly suplex over to his.
See, I'm all about like that. Sounds like a fusion crew to me, right? You get the bow and Sir, and you put them together, and then you get that.
I'm down. I'm down for it.
Joe just passed out in his chair a little bit.
Yeah,
just-
yeah,
It would have to be sec, psi, and then med, and the med is for the medical care the bowel will need afterwards.
Yeah.
okay, so one more question to cap off our time with you guys, because as much as we could do this all day, but we do have a schedule to keep, as it were. There was a pack maybe 2 months ago. It was Mirror Picard and Two Purples, and the title was Gun Show. So who is responsible for calling that pack Gun Show? Because that was hilarious.
I think that was our producer, right? That was
It might be.
Lexi. I think it might have been Lexi or Rob.
That
Yeah.
sounds correct.
Yeah.
I think
Was
it's
your-
the same people that brought you pointy ears and pointy objects. Yeah, I think that's the content team. So Lexi, Rob, myself, and Chris, our QA is responsible for coming up with those silly names.
Okay, well, pass along our appreciation for the Gun
Well
Show
done.
pack, among many others.
So if we're ending,
Alright.
I do have one thing. I can't come
Is
on
it
your
a cipher?
show. I can't come on your show without teasing something. So I don't want to take away anything from the stream or the charity. So I'm going to post it on our forums. It'll be a crew teaser for a crew coming out in April.
Another cipher.
It's a puzzle.
So I didn't make this. Joe made this. There will
Okay.
be like how many PNGs is it, Joe? Like 20 something different photos that you'll have to piece together and puzzle it together, and then you'll get the silhouette. So
Okay.
I think it'll take longer than my cipher last time, which I'm embarrassed about. But so I had Joe take a crack at this one. So I'm excited to see how long it takes.
Okay,
for us to
interesting.
figure it out.
Cool.
So I will post that on our forums momentarily.
All right, well, a big thank you to Ben, Carmen, Fury, Joe. You guys have been great. And if we can get you on individually in the future, if Ben allows it, Overlord Ben allows it, then we'd definitely love to ask more, in-depth, pointed questions about your jobs. But thank you very much for coming on. Thank you, Ben, for donating to Child's Play, and it's been great.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
It's been
thanks.
an
Thanks for having us.
absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.